You take the obligatory social media picture, you get blasted all over social media. Everybody in the world knows you bought a house. Go home and change the locks or rekey the house because you don't know where that key has been.
Welcome to the RE Real Estate Podcast, where we discuss buying and selling real estate in black and white. Here are your hosts, Ben Harang and Clint Galliano.
Welcome to the RE Real Estate Podcast. I'm one of the hosts, Clint Galliano, and with me is my co-host, Ben Harang. Hey, Ben.
Clint, good
What you
afternoon.
doing, man?
How you doing, man? I'm sorry. How you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing terrific, man. It's sun shining outside. It's a little warm, but not too hot. Life is good. Life is good.
Awesome. So I'll do the honors on this episode. We'll put it up front instead of at the end. If you get any benefit from what we're talking about, because we think it's good content, which is why we're doing it. Like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about it. Send them to realestatepodcast.com. You can listen to the audio or watch the videos. You can even ask questions. All right, Ben, what are we talking about today?
All right. We're going to take it a little further than buying and selling a house. We're going to take it into, so you bought a house. What now? Ruh-roh, look out what you asked for. You might get it. Yeah. You know, when you buy the house, it's euphoric, hopefully. It's exciting. It's something you want to do. And then the reality kind of sets in. Not that that's bad, but there is a reality of owning a house. There's a difference between being a tenant and an owner. If you're a tenant, you have a landlord to call when the AC doesn't cool or the water heater doesn't heat the water, or something happens with the roof. And when you own it, you can kind of go look in the mirror and call that guy or woman in the mirror that you're looking at and say, we need to do something. And then you try to figure it out. You know, just a couple of things. You buy the house, they give you the keys. You take the obligatory social media picture, you get blasted all over social media. Everybody in the world knows you bought a house. Everybody's excited. Go home and change the locks or rekey the house because you don't know where that key has been. If anybody's ever lost possession of it, a duplicate could have been made, and just it's too easy to stop that. And today with the smart key, quick set locks and schlag, you can probably rekey them without changing a lock in like 15 seconds, rekey the house or rekey each lock. So that's one thing. Make sure you get the utilities transferred. That should be done hopefully prior to the closing, effective with the closing. Sometimes they require the cash sale to prove that you own it, to put the utilities in your name. So have a conversation with the seller, and you don't want the utilities turned off. It's a pain in the neck to get them turned back on. So communicate that. And then the homestead exemption. People that don't own a house don't understand it. You might hear about it in the news when they want to increase it, decrease it, do away with it, whatever they think they want to do. And I don't think it's changed in my lifetime. You get a $75,000 assessment credit on the house. In Lafourche Parish, that $75,000 assessment exemption is worth about $800 a year. So if you file for the homestead exemption, your taxes are reduced by $800 a year. When your escrow for your loan was set up, they probably took that into account. And if you don't file for the exemption and that bill comes out $800 more than people thought, it messes with the escrow, the money that's in the escrow. You might have to put up some more money to balance it out. And that typically takes 2 or 3 years to get it straight. Filing for the homestead exemption is critical. There's horror stories about people forgetting to do it, or I don't have time to go do it today, or just they forget about it, and 5 years later, they wonder why their taxes are so high. So,
and if you're a disabled veteran, depending on your level of disability, you've got some additional exemptions that you can get in Lafourche Parish. So if you fit that criteria, make sure you bring some proof of it and register for that, because that'll be even less taxes that you pay. And if you're more disabled than less, you can also freeze your tax assessment. So that means that your taxes won't go up in the future.
Also, depending on the level of disability, there could be 100% tax exemption for property taxes for veterans. And also senior citizens with adjusted gross income of less than $100,000 can apply and freeze the property taxes on their home to where the assessment will never go up for those people as long as they live in that house. So just if you don't own a house, you don't understand the importance of the homestead exemption, but it's a big deal. When you go to the closing, the attorney will make a big deal out of it because it is a big deal. I try to go do it after the closing, like we leave the attorney's office and go to the assessor's office if at all possible.
And Ben, I think it's a big deal.
Is it a big deal, Clint?
I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. So, okay, so one piece of advice that we give people is when you buy the house, unless you're going to completely remodel it, take your time and don't make any major improvements when you move into the house. Live in it first. See what you like about the house, see what you don't like about the house. If you're going to be there relatively short time, maybe live with some things that kind of aggravate you a little bit, but isn't the end of the world. If it really bothers you, go ahead and do it. But when you go to sell it, if what you fixed or changed because it bothered you may not bother anybody else, and if it didn't, and what you changed didn't really make a difference, you're probably not going to get that money back. So take your time, make some sound decisions. Don't just walk in and say, "Oh, that air conditioning's 8 years old. I want a new version," and put in a $15,000 unit. Don't do that. You might want to go in and paint it before you move in, but kind of leave everything else alone unless it's damaged, and live with it and see how it works, and make a list and just kind of peck away with the list of what you do want to change.
One of the other things that you also want to do is that if after you're in the house for a while, if you change your insurance, you want to make sure that you notify your mortgage servicer that your insurance has changed, if it's going up or down or what have you, because that will definitely change your note. That'll affect what you're paying every month. If your insurance goes up, let them know. If you change carriers for your insurance, let them know so that they're paying the right people when the bill comes in.
And when people are buying a house, sometimes it gets down to the wire, and they'll get a homeowner's policy just to satisfy the loan at a price that they really don't want to pay for the rest of their life. But they go ahead and get it because it's the easiest one to get. They bind the coverage and they close on the house. And then they start shopping for homeowners insurance, or they shop next year for homeowners insurance. Like Clint said, let the mortgage company know that you're changing and what the new premium is, because they'll get a cancellation from the previous company because they have to be notified. And if they don't match up the new company, then they'll go out to a third party and buy another policy for you, and you're paying for two of them. So, and that'll wreck.
Leads to words that you never want to hear as somebody with a mortgage, and that's called forced place insurance.
It's like 4 times as expensive as voluntary insurance. So you don't want to do that. So be responsible about the insurance and just let people know. That's all. It's not a big deal. Homestead exemption, Clint, is a big deal.
That's a big deal. All right. So some of the things you want to think about going forward is for things that you can, whether you're doing it yourself or you're going to have somebody else doing it, is preventative maintenance. Things like getting your AC service. That's things that, if you can have somebody do that, get them set up on a schedule.
Yeah.
Termite contract, get them set up on a schedule. They're going to remind you. Termite contract's going to remind you. They're going to call you up, say, "Hey, we need to come out and do your treatment." It's like, all right, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Drain your water heater if you've got a tank style water heater. I don't think that the tankless water heaters need to be drained. It probably wouldn't hurt to flush them every once in a while.
They don't need to be drained, but they need to be flushed.
Yeah. Clean your gutters, inspect your roof, even on a new home.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's new doesn't mean that it's done right.
Pay attention, and if you see water dripping out of a gutter, there's a problem. And the sooner you solve that, the better, out of a corner or something.
If you see water dripping anywhere, there's a problem. Typically, your air conditioner is going to be in your attic unless it's in a closet, but nowadays, mostly they put them in the attic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an overflow drip pan. There's an internal drip pan, but then there's an external drip pan with a line that runs outside. So if water's getting in that external drip pan and dripping outside, then that means you've got a problem inside your unit. If you're getting your AC service regularly, then generally you won't have problems with that. But if you see water dripping out of that drain coming down through your soffit or coming out of your wall, and you see water dripping out of that, then you know that you've got an issue. You don't want that clogging up or overflowing. So call your AC guy to get that checked out.
You want to know where that drain pipe is coming out, because you have the same thing with the water heater in the attic. If there's water dripping out of the pipe, know which pipe is for the AC and which one's for the water heater if your water heater's up there. And if you see something dripping out of it, do something. Don't say, "Oh, it's hot outside, it's just condensation, let it go." No, because most ACs today have a float switch. If too much water gets in that pan, it'll shut the AC off. And then it's 95 degrees outside and the AC's not running, only because the drain's clogged, the condensation drain, and it needs to be blown out. But like Clint said, if you have a service contract on it and it's maintained regularly, you should not have that problem. But if it's dripping, do not ignore it.
Yeah. So Ben mentioned water heater being in the attic. If you've got a tank style water heater, if you've got any kind of control over that being installed, make sure you've got a big drip pan or catch pan, not the little round 1.5-inch side pan you pick up at Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go with the standard 3/4-inch drain line. Luckily enough, when the builder built my home, he got, I want to say I've got 16 or 18-inch sides on the drain pan. And it's probably, I'd say 42 inches by 42 inches.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say just about my whole water heater could empty itself into that pan. But in addition to it being able to hold just about the whole volume of the tank, we've got 1.25-inch line draining off of that. So it's less likely to clog up with anything and just flow right on out.
Yeah. I was going to say you have 40 gallons that you need to drain, and you have a 1.5-inch lip on a drain pan. That's just that'll help you if you have a slow leak. But if the tank ruptures and dumps out, you're going to have a mess on your hands. So you want to do everything you can to pay attention to that. And the bigger the pan is, the better off you're going to be.
Yes, indeed.
So the biggest expense items on a house are the roof, the AC, and the water heater. So just pay attention to them is, I guess, what we're trying to say. And you can prepare for them. Some people, put aside $100, $200 a month into an account and just leave it there. It's like you don't even have it. And when something happens, there's your emergency money to make the repairs, and it doesn't eat into your daily budget.
If you want to think about it like a business, you can call it your CapEx account for capital expenditures.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is, put it in a piggy bank, put it in a money market. I don't care where you put it, but put it. And that way
you're not scrambling around looking for how to pay for it.
Right.
When I bought my first house, there were refrigeration units on the outside, 3.5-ton refrigeration units driving a single air handler inside the house. And I mean, literal refrigeration units, like for a walk-in cooler.
Right.
And that was the setup for the air conditioner at my house. And after numerous times of everything leaking and home service warranty calls and everything, I eventually had to bite the bullet and get a whole new air conditioning system. And guess who didn't have any
I was about to
reserves
say,
set up?
I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say you didn't plan for that.
I did not plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I wound up having to go to a local, heck, I don't even know what they're called.
Finance company?
Yeah, local finance company.
And get an 18% loan on that? Get an 18% loan?
I don't know what the interest was, but they gave me the money to get the air conditioner,
Right.
and I pledged my $200 used lawnmower as collateral, and they gave me a $5,000 something loan to buy a new air conditioner.
Yeah.
God, I wish air conditioners were only $5,000 these days.
You're right about that.
I was able to put me a new air conditioner, and I eventually paid it off. But you don't want to be in that situation.
Right. Because you get in a bind, it didn't matter what the interest rate was. You were going to borrow that money to cool off your house.
Exactly.
So, and something else you can do, and I really don't do a good job of this, I do some of it, is keep a log of when you change major components in the house. And something as simple as the air conditioning filter. Write the date on it. Put a note in your phone, a reminder in your phone to change it every 30 days or 90 days, whatever you decide it's going to be. Don't just change it when you think about it. Change it regularly, and it puts less grief on the AC unit, and you don't want an AC unit to go out on a day like today.
That's for sure.
The maintenance is a big deal, and that's what tenants don't even think about when they live in an apartment or a rent house. So you just need a different mindset when you buy a house, because you will have bills. Like Clint and I were talking about before we started this, you're going to have bills. But in 30 years, if you rent for 30 years or you have a 30-year mortgage, there'll be trials and tribulations during that 30-year mortgage. But at the end of 30 years, if you rented, you had zero. You have zero at the end of 30 years. You have a house that's paid for in 30 years. And 30 years is a long time. Until you get old like me, and it's really not that long. 10 or 15 years goes by at the blink of an eye, it feels like. So anyway, that's just a plug for home ownership.
Yeah. And 30 years doesn't have to be 30 years.
Right.
And that's a spiel that I like to give if the closing attorney doesn't give it at the closing. When we do have a buyer buying a home, if you pay an extra note, principal and interest every year, then that cuts 7 years off the term of your loan. If you pay an extra 2 notes, principal and interest, that knocks another 5 years off to where you're finished with your loan in 18 years, give or take. And
just because you have a 30-year loan does not mean you cannot pay it off early. They typically do not have a prepayment penalty. It's just I feel sorry for who's got to keep track of the oddball payments that get paid, because somebody has to, the computer program or something has to track what you paid when. And it's probably a good idea for you to keep a record of what you paid when, and compare it annually to the balance online that you'll see. So just some things to keep in mind after you buy the house, because life does go on. Life gets in the way. Life happens, and you wake up one day and your house is hotter. You have no hot water to jump in the shower to go to work. And that's not a fun place to be in. The more preventative you can do, the better off you're gonna be.
All right, that's our tips for new homeowners.
All right. Have a good one, Clint. We're done.
We done, Ben, and we even got a little bit of rain while we were recording.
No, I'm still dry over here. And it's the wonders of technology. Clint and I are about 12 miles apart, and we side by side and can have this conversation, which just, it intrigues me that we can do that. But anyway, that's just an observation.
All right, another one in the can.
All right, have a good one.
You too, Ben. Bye-bye.
While we may discuss topics such as lending, interest rates, title law, real estate law, and appraisals in addition to real estate sales and transactions, please remember that we are only trained and licensed as real estate salespeople in Louisiana. The information shared on this podcast is for general purposes only and should not be taken as legal or financial advice. We may be agents, but unless we have signed paperwork stating otherwise, we are not your agents.